little while back, someone left a comment on my YouTube channel asking if I could record a podcast about feeling behind in life after an eating disorder. And no joke, I practically shrieked with excitement because not only do I have a chapter in my book, How to Get Out of Quasi Recovery, literally titled Feeling Behind, but I had also literally just finished writing an email for my newsletter about this topic. So, when I read that comment and was obviously feeling super inspired, I quickly went back to the email I had just written and was like, wow, this would make for such a good podcast episode. Especially because I have been changing up my email style recently, and I've been having so much creative fun writing these emails, and the feedback has been incredible as well. So, if you are not yet on my email list and you would like to receive weekly emails exploring the same topics we do on this podcast, you can sign up for free at livelabelfree.com/join. And it's actually quite funny because most of these emails are so written from the soul that I literally write them at like 2 a.m. when I'm tossing and turning and my brain won't go anywhere else aside from this transcendent dimension where all my best ideas are just floating around. So, yay, not to insomnia. I mean, raise your hand if you can relate. Well, don't literally raise your hand. Well, you can if you want to, obviously. Anyways, the insomnia sucks, and I've struggled with sleep my entire life, which you know if you've read my book, How to Beat Extreme Hunger. But because I'm all about turning every mess into a message, I just use my insomnia time, which I now call it, to really go inwards and ask my soul for ideas, and to be honest, I'm never disappointed during this insomnia time. Now, I definitely believe that part of the reason I have been more creative lately, and I even started writing my first fiction novel, which anyone in the existential autistic membership knows all about, and oh my gosh, this novel is gonna be so freaking epic, my friend. And I'm really having the time of my life with it. I mean, I have never written fiction before. All my books are obviously nonfiction, and it's such a thrill because every time I'm writing, I'm like, I can make up whatever I want. So yeah, it's so fun. And I'm not even gonna get into what it is about here because I could literally go rambling on for hours because as I've said in existential autistic membership calls, and I may have said on the podcast before, all of the books I want to write are like already written in my soul, and the hard work is not coming up with the ideas. The hard work is the existential decisions around how to materialize the idea inside of me. So, like, which words to choose, how to divide the chapters, like the nitty gritty stuff, that's the hard work for me. But anyways, we're already going down a rabbit hole that I said I would not be going down. So back to what I was saying. Part of the reason I have been more creative lately, and despite barely sleeping, I feel like I have so much energy, and this is because I am finally out of my really awful existential autistic burnout period that lasted pretty much the first half of this year. And of course, I will be writing an entire book about this existential autistic burnout and how to get out at some point in this lifetime because hello, existential claustrophobia. But for now, I'm really focusing on a few different projects at a time and not overwhelming myself so I can go deep and make the maximum impact that I know in my heart and soul I can make in this world during this lifetime. And speaking of making an impact, I am beyond excited to announce that the Autistically ED Free Academy is officially open for enrollment. This is a transformative 8-week program that guides you to complete freedom by embracing your autistic traits. I have revamped the entire program based on all the feedback I received in season 1 of the Academy And honestly, I feel like whatever I would say here to try and tell you how great it is would be doing the program an injustice. But let's just say that if you're looking for the most comprehensive guide to full recovery from an eating disorder as an autistic person, the Autistically ED Free Academy is it. Just listen to what Nico, who was actually on the podcast last week, has to say about their academy experience.
When I took part in the Autistically ED Free Academy, I learned so much that I never knew about autism and eating disorders, even after years of being in both communities online. Explanations as to why I struggle with certain behaviours and situations, how our brains and bodies work, and techniques to help move away from needing an eating disorder to handle the world. I struggle to justify spending money on myself, but I am so glad that I spent this money. Thank you so much, Livia.
You can secure your spot in the Autistically ED Free Academy at livelabelfree.com/group. The program starts September 1st, 2025, so enrollment is open for a limited time only, aka a limited time this month, August of 2025. Again, you can find all the details at livelabelfree.com/group, and of course, I will leave the link in the show notes as well. And now, let's dive into today's episode on feeling behind. Welcome to the Live Label Free podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Sarah, an autistic eating disorder recovery coach that's here to help you turn your mess into your message. You can find my books, blogs, courses, coaching, and much more at livelabelfree.com. So that's LIV labelfree.com. And now let's dive into today's episode. When I was diagnosed with an eating disorder back in 2011, my whole life kind of paused. In fact, my years in the eating disorder trenches are kind of like a brushstroke on my life's canvas. Sure, I remember several moments that happened during my eating disorder. I mean, otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to write multiple books about my journey and have this podcast and have my blog and have the academy and have all the other things that I have turned into my life. But I didn't really achieve anything during the time of my eating disorder. While my classmates were progressing through school, going through puberty, and building relationships, I was existing in the snow globe of an eating disorder. When I finally decided to recover in 2017, my peers were applying to colleges, and you bet university was the last thing on my agenda. If you've read my memoir, Rainbow Girl, you know that I didn't finish high school until I was 21. And my negative book reviewers like to point out that I am unqualified because I didn't go to university. But that's a whole nother story, and you can tell my voice that I'm actually laughing right now because this whole concept of qualified is literally a made up social construct. Anyways, to say that I felt delayed would be an understatement. But here's the truth, my friend. You can only be delayed if you're comparing yourself to other people. You can only be unqualified if you base that definition on what someone else has defined as qualified. Again, this is why the whole qualification thing is a made up social construct, and I think why so many autistic people struggle with school because this world and the system that, has decided whether or not we're qualified was not built for people like us. And of course, this all leads us back to the cliche that this is why comparison is the thief of joy. The truth is that your eating disorder didn't make you delayed. You're not unqualified to forge your own path. Rather, your discovery journey is giving you an infinitely more meaningful form of education. For what's truly more valuable than learning who you are at your core and connecting with people on levels that are impossible to describe in words? So when I say I'm grateful for my eating disorder, which I am, by the way, What I'm actually saying is that I'm grateful for the journey my lived experience allows me to embark on each and every day. If it weren't for my trauma and triumphs, if it weren't for the alternative path that strayed from the norm, I wouldn't even be connected with you right now. Today, my best friends are the ones I've met through Live Label Free. These are the people that have emailed me after reading my books, the people that have messaged me after discovering this podcast, the people that have embarked on discovery journeys with me through one-on-one coaching, the Existential Autistic Membership, and of course, the Autistically ED-Free Academy. And as I said earlier in this episode, Season 2 of the Autistically ED-Free Academy is officially open. And this time of it being open right now is actually very in alignment with today's episode because, to be honest, I wanted to launch the second round of the Academy months ago. I kept telling myself I was behind schedule and I felt frustrated that it wasn't ready yet. But just like the discovery journey that follows an eating disorder, what felt like delay is actually divine timing. Because those extra months allowed me to completely reimagine the Academy based on what I learned in Season 1. So if you currently feel behind, I invite you to ponder the following question. How might this be an opportunity to create something infinitely more meaningful? If you're ready to create your very own meaningful life, come join us inside the Autistically ED-Free Academy at livelabelfree.com/group. I cannot wait to support you in discovering who you truly are without the mask of fear and limitation. So once again, you can find all the details at livelabelfree.com/group, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, my friend. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you could leave a positive rating and review for the Live Label Free podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's a free way to show your support so I can continue bringing you the valuable content that I love to create for you.